All right, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the trade report video for the week of July 2nd, 2017. So let's take a look at the Dow Jones ETF. We can see that um, it had a big breakout here, nice run up, and then we've been kind of trending down over the past week or so and just kind of pulling back. This would be a nice area of support right here, which would also be roughly the 50-day moving average. So we'll see if we, do get a pullback to that area. One thing I've noticed with my own trades, and which I haven't been trading that heavy because I have been busy with moving. I'm still in the process of that. Should be moved into our house on the 26th of July. So until then, I'm actually staying in a temporary hotel, basically, until the house we can close on the new house. So, but anyway, what I've noticed was that a lot of the breakouts and swing trades are not really holding up well. They're breaking out and they're giving, pulling back below the breakout point, and that's usually a sign of weakness in the market. And the market could be continuing weakness because I'm seeing it, a lot of places where I try to buy these breakouts, and BLD is one, PIRS is another one where you get a nice break, and then it just can't hold and it fails and falls back below the breakout point. So if you're swing trading, you end up giving back your gains. It's frustrating, but that typically is a sign of the market is just getting weaker. So we'll just keep that in mind going forward. It's frustrating, but that's just the market environment. So the Dow, maybe it's going to pull back to this support line here, which is a breakout right around this 211 spot. We'll have to see what happens. SPY, similar story. It's been pulling back. It looks like it's kind of tested this breakout spot, and so we'll see if this level, which is prior resistance, can now act as support, and we'll see if that's the case here. Ideally, that'd be the situation. IWM got rejected at the 142 spot, so we'll see if this one can test it again. It's 1, 2, 3 times it's tested it. Looks like it may be putting in kind of a volatility contraction, so we'll keep an eye on the IWM, see if that can actually get stronger. IBB, very nice breakout. So obviously I didn't do a weekly trade report video last week because I was really busy, but we can see here that the IBB clearly broke out, had a nice, basically 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 green days, and then it's been pulling back since then. The next level of support would be back here at the breakout spot. We don't know if it's going to get back there. It may stabilize up higher and then turn back up, but I think this was in anticipation of the healthcare bill passing, and then whenever there was all the news about it not going through and they didn't have the votes, it kind of pulled back. So this is what I think is happening with the IBB at this point. But nevertheless, the IBB still looks pretty decent longer term. This is a key level of resistance for a long time, and it finally broke it. Going back, let's see, 180 days. We can go back, even a year, and you can see that was a clear level. So if it does pull back to this 300, 302 spot, it would be a key level to watch if it can hold, because that's a really important level. So we may get back there. If it does, be one to watch for, support bounce down in this area if we get back to that level. Looks like it may want to retest that. So, all right, that's HB. Okay, the home builders, basically doing what they've been doing, which is kind of holding the 50-day moving average. You can see it bounced here. It looks like it held right here, and they seem to be turning up. And some of the home builders like PHM, DHI, and even Lennar starting to look good again. And as you can recall, Lennar was one that was, I actually traded, but it actually gave back and pulled back below the breakout point. So that was kind of a frustrating to watch. But once again, that's been kind of the theme with the market. You get these breakouts and they fail. But the home builders do look really good for Monday. There's several on the watch list for Monday. They do look like they're about to make a move to the upside. XLE Energy, once again, long-term trend remains down until it can start to break through this downward trend line, and then maybe the declining 50-day moving average would be a signal that maybe the trend is reversing, or at least putting in a bottom. But at this point, you can see this trend just remains down, lower highs and lower lows. Okay, let's talk about some of the names that I traded last week. So BLD was a nice trade that basically had this nice break and then faded and gave it all back. So this one I actually took a loss on when I had a nice profit, and I think one was because I was moving, and two, just because I just didn't cut it when it went against me. And it just looks so pretty. If we take a look at this chart, if you can kind of imagine this red one wasn't here, this was like a perfect looking breakout on good volume, and then it just reversed and gave it all back. And so frustrating, but that just seems to be the theme of the market right now, these failed breakouts. And so maybe this thing sets up again, but at this point I'm staying away from it for now. But once again, it kind of seems like if you don't sell on the first day of the move, or at the opening of the second day, these things just kind of reverse and give it all back. So that's just the nature of the market right now, so keep that in mind in your trading. Okay, PIRS, another one. This is one on Friday I traded, and actually took about half of my position off on this big push in the morning. Had a big break through this 5 spot, and it looked like it was going to break. And in the morning when it gapped up, I took some at 507, and then it ran up, and I took some off at like 530, high 30s, and then it kind of just gave it all back and closed at 506. So frustrating. Once again, another frustrating thing where these things can't hold their gains, but that's just the market. And so I've still got a half position in this name. If it can't hold above this breakout level 505, 506, I'll have to take the position off as a break-even basically trade. But we'll see what the market does. And if this thing can hold above here, I'll give it some room, see if it can have another push higher, because it is technically a breakout, but it gave it all back, which is not a good sign. You don't want to see that. Okay, BCLI, another biotech that I traded, took a loss on this one. Looked like it was going to break through this 450, which was back here, was a key kind of resistance. Had a false breakout there, and it just looked like it wanted to kind of get through that 450 spot, and so, but it didn't. It just didn't move. And as it started to roll over, I took it off in the 5. I think I took some on this day, 540 area, and then I took some off at 530 in that area in there. So maybe a % or 2 loss on that one, and then you can just see it's just been continuing down. So just a trade that didn't work. That happens. Just cut them and move on. Okay, SUM. This is one been on the radar for a while. It's a nice looking setup for Monday. I'd say through 29 area would be a good spot. Maybe Friday's high, and see if this one can get a push even through this high here of say 29.20. And you see it tested this spot roughly 29 here, and then just kind of putting in a nice breakout setup on SUM. So that's a nice one to watch for Monday. GLYC, here's one that failed. This was a spot, looked like it wanted to break through 14 and had a big perk up, and then it just gave it back and dumped. So this one, maybe if they can get back to 14 in the next weeks or so, it'd be one to watch through this 14 spot. But until then, nothing, no trade there. REGI, one I didn't trade, had a spot here at 1250. Decent one-day break, pulled back, held that level, and then continued higher. So slow mover, but still looks pretty good. Okay, Glue, another one that failed at this 272 spot. Had a breakout level there, and then it just gave it back. So this one, just another failed breakout, and so no trade there on Glue. GSM, looked longer term, steel name, and had a pullback to here. What it looked like, had a this one had a big rally, pulled back to 10, and then on this break of 11.20 would have been a good trigger to get long, and you can see it's all the way up to back near 12. So this one would have been a great trade. I didn't trade it, but the trigger to buy this one would have been on this break through there, through 11.20, and your target would have been based on this low. So say 10.40 to 11.20, so that'd been 80 cents. So I give you a $12 target, and you can see it hit 12. So if you would have traded that, that's how I would have traded it. But of course, I didn't. I didn't trade this one. CVLT, another failed breakout. Looked like it was going to break through this 50, basically 58.60, somewhere in this area, and then it just pulled back. So we'll see. Maybe this one pulls back, get the rising 50-day. Maybe this holds and gets back up there for a trade in the future. Zen was on the watch list. Here was the look, what I seen, basically a little tight triangle flag like that, and you can see it had a nice break. So if you traded that one, good on you. That was a nice little move. And this one does look like the momentum remains up on this one. So this could be one that could be setting up again, maybe even heading back to this high, around $4. Okay, ABIL, another kind of baby biotech, kind of flagging, had a break, pulled back, tested it, pulled back. So I'd like this one maybe through, if it can get up near 155, 56, get a push, break out of this flag pattern, it might be worth a trade. Just one to keep an eye on. Looks like it's kind of flagging out. We'll see if it can get back up to this 150, 160 spot for a trade in the future. Okay, RADA, this was a nice setup on the watch list. Spot was right in here. Right, and this is kind of the pattern, ascending triangle. And you can see had a nice break, 3-day run, and then pulled back, held that level. But longer term looks like it's going up. Brew still consolidating, failed to break this 1750 spot, so see if this one can get tighter and tighter, maybe make a push. Longer term it does look like it's bullish on Brew, so I'd keep an eye on that one. Still like the way the chart looks. NDRM, nice look for Monday, another bio. Looks like it had a nice run and now it's just flagging out, so we're looking for the next leg up. And you got some resistance from back here. So I would like this one through 30, through 30-ish, and then 30, 50, somewhere in there. But this does look like a big run up and then a bull flag. So we'll see if this one can make a next leg up. PRTK, another one that kind of pulled back. This little pattern here. So had the break and then pulled back. So we'll see if this acts as a support or continues higher. Okay, MDC, another home builder. Once again, you see the breakout and then the pullback and gives it back. So once again, you're seeing this a lot in a lot of the names. You have a nice breakout and then it just pulls back and gives it back. But the home builders do look good to me. I've seen several of them that look really good. So I'll be watching those for Monday. INNL, this one just a very slow mover. Just continues kind of grinding and just not doing much, but this pattern, eventually I think this thing has to make a move, and it looks like it wants to go up. So we'll keep an eye maybe through Thursday's high, and if this one gets some volume in it, maybe can have a nice push. So I still like this INNL. Looks like it's ready to make a move one way or the other in the near future. ATRS, another bio, key spot there at 324. Still didn't look like it might want to go Friday, but failed to break. So still looks pretty good. Okay, really quickly want to talk about a couple of the Canadian marijuana stocks. So this APHQF, still kind of monitoring this one, for this through 420, 425 area. We'll see if these things can get any momentum. They're still just they look like they kind of broke this downtrend, kind of like this, and now they're kind of flagging. So we'll see if these can get any momentum to the upside. But just monitoring them at this point. One that I just seen on Friday was interesting is this TRTC. It's been really beaten down, and you can see, it's been really kind of beaten down lately. But then, kind of zoom in, you can see where right here had a resistance at 18 cents, and then Friday, tested it, and then tested again, then failed, and then broke out through 18 cents on pretty good volume. So you can see the relative volume there. So maybe TRTC could have some more upside momentum there with it, and but not seeing too much in the marijuana sector. These things can be really fun when they actually do turn on and start moving, but so far it's still just you see a couple here and there, and but then they fade off. So still tough. Stay away from the marijuana sector for now. Maybe they perk up again in the future. I think Nevada recently started selling recreational marijuana, and I think TRTC has some dispensaries there in the state. So that could be some catalyst for some movement in this one. So TRTC, just one to monitor. Maybe make some trades if it gets some action next week. Okay, the banking sector was strong last week, and XLF had a decent move, and then this is just showing Bank of America had a clear spot at 24. You can see it tested it, and then on this day it gapped up through it. So there wasn't a chance to actually buy it because it gapped through it, and now it just looks like it's kind of flagging out above the 24 spot. And if we take a look at the overall healthcare sector, or I'm sorry, the financial sector, XLF, that's another one that broke out through a 24. Right. So yeah, so you can see that break right through there, and now it just looks like it's kind of consolidating above 24, and for another leg higher. So the financial banking stocks still look good. They still look like they're going higher at this point. Okay, next up, KERX. This was a nice one on Friday watch list. There was kind of the pattern right through there, and you can see it had a nice push. Gave back a lot of it, but it still finished, a couple percent to the good. So that was a nice biotech mover on Friday's watch list. EXEL, another bio that looks like it wants to make a move, maybe through 25. So yeah, keep an eye on this one through 25. Somewhere up in this area here. This thing can get some momentum. Looks like it's still strong. EXEL. JK Solar. Another one looks like it's flagging. Had a run up and then just sideways action. So I'd like this one through 21. Maybe gets a push towards 22 out of this flag. So one to watch, JK Solar. Longer term, take a look at the 2-year. Pretty beaten down, so maybe the tides are turning on this one. CEMP. Yeah, so this one not seeing too much. Yeah, I'd probably just not even address SIMP. Okay, GIFI, this was a nice breakout from the watch list on Friday. Here was a spot. So you had this recent high right there, and it closed just above that. And you can see it had a nice push through that spot on Friday. So that would have been a nice trade on the breakout through this recent high, GIFI. LNTH looks pretty good. Kind of broke through this resistance and just kind of slowly grinding higher. Still looks pretty good. I like the look of that chart. LNTH still looks strong. HOS, this is an oil play. Been beaten down. So pretty beaten down. Had a gap up. So it looks like it could be flagging. And if this thing can get a push through 3, it might be worth a trade. So I'd use this 3 area as kind of keeping on that spot. If this one can, test 3, maybe you get a 3, push to 320 or even 340. But this definitely looks like a breakout and then a flag pattern. AXGN, this was a really pretty one. Probably the prettiest breakout on Friday. And so there was a spot right there at 16 that it mentioned on Twitter, and it had the volume. It's a big volume. And this one actually held most of its gains, so it had a break and still finished up 7% on the day. So there were several of them, like Kirk's, PIRS, and then AXGN. They all had 8 to 10% gains intraday, and then this one actually held, and the other ones kind of gave back a lot of them. And Piers actually finished slightly red after being up 10%, which was frustrating because that's the one I picked. And so you never really know which one's going to hold their gains, but this one actually did, and so that was a nice break. Very nice chart. Okay, so for next week, this DHI looks fantastic. It closed right up here at 34.60. That was roughly the high here, and so then basing for all this time right here. So basically 3 months, and so it looks like it's ready to make a move. This DHI looks really good. Definitely keep that on your radar for next week. XENT, another healthcare related stock. This one's right there at that 28 spot, and so it tested it there, and it looks like it's ready to push through that. Through that 28 spot, and if you trade it, I would look for, maybe a target of 30 on this one. But still looks good. This one, very strong uptrend, nice pattern there. Okay, UEC. This is Uranium Energy Corp. Pretty beaten down. Well, actually not too bad. Had a big run up and then kind of consolidated. So it has this key spot, kind of a key pivot point right at this 160. You can see, tested it there, tested it roughly there, and right in here. So this one, if it can get through, say, say, Thursday and Friday's high, it'd be worth a trigger. And maybe it's going to go up here and test this 170 area. So this one looks like it could make another push higher. So through 162 area, maybe a 170 test, something like that. Okay, PHM, another home builder. You can see the spot at 2450 right in here, tested it, and then you can see it's just kind of flagging out, and then it closed right above that. So this one also looks really good. This Pulte Home Group, another great looking home builder for next week. EXCL, another bio. Got the spot right at, say, 24, or I'd say 25 area. Tested it back here, and it's back up there, and it looks like it's flagging. So you had a big run, and it's flagging. So watch this one through 25. I still like the EXCL. Okay, and last up is this IDSA. This one's pretty thin. I mean, only traded 60,000 shares, so keep that in mind. It's a thin name, pretty beaten down. Kind of looks like it wants to break 150. So you can see beaten down, kind of bottoming pattern. So this one, if it can break 150, I'd use a target as a, and then the next spot would be right around this high here. And then, so using the depth of this pattern, this is 120 to 150. So that's what, 30 cents. So I'd give it a 150 to 180. That would be the max. But even if you got a 10% gain on this thing, if it broke, it'd be a good profit target on this one. But just looks like it wants to make a move. It's very thin, so it's one thing that you got to keep in mind. So okay, guys, I hope you guys have a good 4th of July. The market's open Monday, but it closes early, and then Tuesday it's no trading, and then the market will be back on Wednesday. And so yeah, I'll still in the process, still in the moving process. So I am stable now and staying in a temporary facility, and so I should be more active and be able to be on Twitter more. So, but anyway, okay, guys, have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you soon.